Today, folks, recap of geopolitics, the oncoming storm in Europe, lots of diplomacy going on. But hey, let's just say this: Putin is playing a high-stakes game, right? And you blame him, considering the fact that Europe has been reordered a few times, right? And many times promises given by whether it was Clinton, Obama, whether it was Reagan, was that that NATO would not move eastward. But in the hubris of victory, all these promises made to Russia or the ex-USSR were absolutely what would you call them, not looked after, affecting the sensitivities of Russia, and they're sensitive people and proud people too. So there was gonna hell to pay, and warning signs had started coming out in 2007 when by Putin. But hey, was the West ever worried? Probably not. Diplomacy on as Russia holds drills. Diplomacy at work to avert NATO-Russia clash. US alarms on Russia invading Ukraine get shriller. Moscow rubbishes claims. Macron to Putin, hope talks lead to de-escalation. Russia undercuts Macron's report of a Putin deal. US will raise Ukraine issue in Quad talks. No Russia-Germany pipeline if Ukraine is invaded, says Biden. First US troops arrive in Poland. Denmark likely to host American troops. And what do you have here, right? You have basically the great power rivalry. That is what it's all about. This is written by C. Raja Mohan. Where does the return of bloc politics leave Delhi? India's approach will depend upon the new dynamic between the two coalitions as well as its own relations with China and Russia and the US. With the return of great power rivalry coinciding with India's deteriorating ties with China, Delhi now stands closer than ever before to the West. The meeting of the Quad foreign ministers in Australia this week and the planned summit of their leaders in Japan during May will give some clue to India's future navigation between the great powers. And this is the important part, right, that we had to note, right? And what we have here essentially is Putin is forcing, as I told you, a third reordering of Europe. This is written by Rakesh Sood. He says, Putin has succeeded in focusing Western attention and laid down a set of demands for security guarantees of both the US and NATO. But he has also rejuvenated NATO. A reordering of the European security map is underway. The diplomatic challenge is to achieve it without a destructive war. West warns of dangerous moment. Russia holds drills. Harris to attend Munich security next week. And like I said, this is getting absolutely right down to the wire. Like I said, high stakes game, right? And then like I said, Quad is also mentioned. Quad focus on action, not talk, says O'Farrell. Quad decision to be set in motion at key meet this week. Jaishankar is going there. What else is he doing? India, Australia look to seal early harvest pact in 30 days. So there's a lot of early harvest trade pacts. Important for India, right? Jaishankar to visit Australia, Philippines in 6-day tour. So expanded tour from the Quad, right? Possibilities down under, writes Amitabh Matu. He says, Jaishankar's visit to Australia provides opportunity to strengthen Quad and boost New Delhi's ties with Canberra. He says, but Jaishankar's visit is beyond the bilateral. What draws him for the first visit to Melbourne in his current role is the meeting of the Quad foreign ministers from Australia, Japan, US and India in person after more than 2 years. As the foreign ministers of this new, still unblemished alloy arrive in Australia, a region that geographers of the old empire had once described as the antipodes, so distant and different as it was to their world, they do so in the realization that this is the new center of gravity and gravitas of international politics and the quest for balance and resilience in the face of strategic competition of economics, markets and supply chains, of the battle against common challenges including climate change, cybersecurity and COVID, and of ideas and innovation for a more habitable planet. India is going to have to take sides, folks. It's becoming far more difficult now to balance, right? Especially because of essentially, folks. Essentially because of our relationship with China. Here we are. And you know, the West is looking like bombed out to emergency declared in Ottawa, right? Ottawa has been under siege since January 28th. This is by the truckers, the no-vax guys. Europe facing trucker protest after Canada. Amazing, right? Unbelievable this world is, right? And what do you have here? India rejects references to Kashmir, CPEC in China Pact joint statement. India rejects references to Kashmir, CPEC in China Pact joint statement. Moscow sticks to position Kashmir even amid Putin-Xi bonhomie. So this is the narrow, the thin edge that India has to balance, right? Chini, Rusi, Bhai Bhai. The alignment of Russian and Chinese interests on security and global issues will pose challenges to India's independence of approach and engagement in groupings such as BRICS and RIC, which involve them as key interlocutors. A great power game is on. India needs to bide its time by managing differences and balancing interests. Difficult. And because on the other hand, this is what China is doing. Pak to get fighters made jointly with China by March end. India summons South Korea ambassador, voices protest. This is about all these guys, whether it was, I think, Pizza Hut, Hyundai going on about support of Kashmiri Day. That was kind of stupid, I think. China encroaching along Nepal border. God, Nepal government's row with China may flare up over alleged encroachment. So, nothing hunky-dory between China and India. Nepal and China. Despite the fact Nepal keeps fingering us on Kalapani, interesting. Won't let India's interest to be hit, Lanka Mantri. Beijing ties won't affect India relations, says Lanka. But grateful to India for helping us tide over economic crisis. But here's the thing, right? Don't forget this. This is your biggest asset. Lanka interests best served by peace for Tamil, says Jaishankar. This is your card. Taliban's Afghanistan rule strengthening TTP hold on Pakistan in trouble. Pakistan military says 5 soldiers killed in TTP attack from Afghanistan. Pakistan struggles to address China's concern over Gwadar. It can't be because it's ill-gotten territory, right? Myanmar and Pak in arms deal guided by China. Problem in Myanmar, but this is what Avinash Paliwal has, right? What India must do in Myanmar, and he says it rightly. Just as Nehru tried to strengthen constitutionalism and inclusivity in 50s Burma, India supported Myanmar's democratic tradition, however limited and illiberal during the 2010, but it is now more than ever before that the people of Myanmar are most prepared to transform the union into a democratic federal republic. India must not let go of this moment. Absolutely correct. India putting the heat on the United Kingdom. Watch out for anti-India acts, Delhi tells London. And Harris to help pick new Supreme Court justice. Jai Hind, folks. Lots of stuff happening. Keep watching Europe and the Russia and China and the Quad. All happening at the same time. Jai Hind.